In the last chapter, you learned how to tidy your data, making sure that observations are in rows, variables are in columns, and that each table represents exactly one type of observational unit. Once this is done, the next step is to prepare your data for analysis. Often, preparing your data for analysis will involve working with different types of variables: characters, numerics, integers, factors, logicals, and dates, to make sure that everything is stored and displayed in the proper format. You've probably seen this in our Introduction to R course, but it's so important that we'll quickly review some examples of each type of variable here. First, we have some character strings. Even the 1, 2, 3 is a character string because the number is surrounded with quotes. Then we've got some numerics, which may or may not have decimals, and include the special values NaN for not a number and inf for infinity. Next, some integers, which are always designated by including a capital letter L after the number. Factors are created using the factor function and can be appropriate when working with categorical variables. Finally, logicals include true, false, and NA, which, as you know by now, is R's placeholder for missing values. The class function is useful for inspecting the type of variable that you're dealing with. In addition to being called on single values or scalars, class can also take vectors or data frame columns as inputs. Here, we tested out on examples of each class of variable, and the results are as you might expect. Often, you'll need to adjust the class of, say, a particular column of data. Let's walk through some simple examples of type conversions, also known as coercions. As.character coerces the number 2016 to the character 2016. Interestingly, as.numeric coerces the logical true to the numeric 1, which is the numeric representation of true in R. As.integer coerces the numeric 99 to the integer 99, even though R doesn't print the letter L as a suffix. As.factor coerces the character something to the factor something, which has only one level. If we were to feed it a vector containing multiple values, then there would be one level for each value represented. Finally, as.logical coerces the numeric 0 to the logical false, since, like we said with true, the numeric representation in R of false is 0. One other type of variable that we haven't dealt with in the first few slides is a date, sometimes referred to as a date time. Working with dates in R can get a bit messy, but the Lubridate package by Garrett Grullemund and Hadley Wickham helps considerably. As with tidyr, we won't introduce you to the full functionality of Lubridate, as it's quite a powerful package with many features that are beyond the scope of this course. It is useful, however, to examine just a few examples of commonly used functions for coercing strings to dates. We start by loading the Lubridate package. The first two calls to the YMD function, which stands for year, month, day, show its versatility, since we present the same date of August 25th, 2015 in two different formats, but wind up with the same standardized output in year, month, day format, followed by the default time zone of UTC. When parsing dates, Lubridate will always do its best to determine the format of the date, making it much more flexible and convenient than the date functionality contained in base R. The third example here shows a different function, MDY for month, day, year, but again gives us the standardized year, month, day output. Next, the HMS function for hour, minute, second reads in a time and produces a standardized time output in hour, minute, second format. Finally, we parse a date time using the YMD-HMS function, which stands for, you guessed it, year, month, day, hour, minute, second. The common theme among all of these functions is that their names represent the format of the date or date time input that they are designed to parse. For example, YMD takes a date in year, month, day format as input. However, not every combination exists, so you may need to consult the Lubridate package documentation from time to time. Let's practice type conversions.